Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're here in Clearwater, Florida, on Clearwater Beach, voted the #1 beach in the U.S. and well worth visiting. And the thing is, Florida's got a lot of great stuff you should do, but there's some things you should know that you don't do when you're here in Florida, because I know we've got a lot of American tourists that come here, a lot of international tourists that come here to Florida, and we're trying to help you out to make sure you don't do what you shouldn't be doing. And the first don't I have for you is don't mess with the critters. The animals that are here. Yes, there are alligators here, and yes, they will go after you, okay? They're not just a tourist attraction. You've heard the horror stories online about kids and people getting attacked by the alligators. It's not a joke. They are out there, so do not mess with them. And the thing is, it's not just alligators here. If you see signs up saying, hey, watch out for sharks and stuff like that, you need to watch out for sharks. Also, you might be in like a little coastal suburb in your little Airbnb and you see these big birds walking down the street in a pair and they'll come after you. Look, the critters in Florida, they don't like the tourists, okay? They tend not to like you, so do watch out for the critters when you are here, because they will get you, all right? So that's the first don't. Don't go after the critters, they'll get you. Now, my next don't for you for here in Florida is don't expect to do everything in one trip. Look, Florida is actually a really long state if you go from one tip to the other tip, and there's tons of stuff to see and do, and I'll talk about that later, whether you want to go to the Everglades National Park in the south, you know, or Miami, or head up to Jacksonville, or do Orlando. There is tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff to do here. So don't try to do it all in one trip, because you'll burn yourself out, okay? So make sure you do plan it out. What are we gonna do? Okay, we're gonna fly into Orlando, and then maybe we should do Orlando, and then the Tampa St. Pete area, that's where Clearwater is. We can just do that, or maybe do Miami and the South Tip, because I've seen tourists that try to do too much, especially when they've got little kids, and they get burned out real fast. So don't expect to do it all in one trip. The third don't I have for you is don't sleep in. Look, I get to have the beach to myself today. Oh no, it's because it's 7:30 in the morning. I get to be out here. And if you get up in the morning early and you go out, you can enjoy the beautiful beaches. I mean, this is the #1 beach in the US, and it's empty at 7:30 in the morning. You can go and enjoy these things. And that don't sleep in thing goes especially for places like Universal Studios and Disney World and Epcot and all those places, because if you get there early in the morning, you can get on the rides faster, because by the afternoon, the parks are packed, okay? So if you're thinking, oh, I'll have a lie-in, I'll just sleep in and we'll go later, no. Go to bed earlier at night, okay, after the sunset, because don't miss the sunset, okay? You see that sunset here on the West Coast, or watch the sunrise on the East Coast? It is just gorgeous, but do not sleep in, because the benefits of getting up early, to having the beach to yourself, to getting on some of the rides. We walked on rides at Disney because we were there early. That was really great. The fourth don't I have for you kind of leads off of that is don't be afraid to stay on property at Universal or Disney or something like that on the days you're gonna go to Disney or you're gonna go to Universal, because sometimes they actually have deals that, you know, they'll give you a shuttle. Maybe Disney, some days you get to go in the park an hour earlier, and it is really cool, and you get to have that extra experience of Disney or Universal when you stay in their properties, which is kind of cool. Now, I won't lie to you, they are a lot more pricey than things off property, so what you might do is just do, you know, 2 nights on property, then 4 nights at another hotel in the Orlando area or something like that. But I will say is don't be scared off by it, because honestly, the prices here are pretty expensive anywhere you go. Which kind of leads into our next don't, is don't break the bank when you come to Florida. Look, it's expensive to come here. Since all the tourists come here, you've got all kinds of issues with those. You've got, you know, overpriced hotels. You've got the Disney Worlds that can cost you, you know, take a family of 4, you could be spending $1,000 in one day with all the stuff you might do. So you do want to watch out for that, and don't bust your bank. But the thing is, there's some really affordable options for things to do here in Florida, like, oh look, the beach, it's free. You can go to the beach. They've got great national parks like the Everglades. There's state parks. There's national and state preserves you can go to and do all kinds of stuff. Heck, visiting some of the culture sites, walking around St. Augustine, or going to Tarpon Springs up there, up the coast from here. There's a lot of free things you can do, so make sure you mix it up, because otherwise Florida can be your most expensive vacation you've ever had. And that's why I'll kind of lead into the 6th don't is don't forget the critters, don't forget the history, don't forget the other things aside from the parks that are here. look, Florida has got really cool stuff. Like when you go to St. Augustine and see the city there and the history there, going around Tampa and St. Pete, going to the Busch Gardens out there, the amusement parks, the water parks, yes, the Disneys and Universals and stuff like that. Going to South Beach, seeing the architecture in Miami. There are so many amazing things to do here that people just forget about. So don't just do Disney, see more of this beautiful state. I mean, think about it. If you go down to Fort Myers, you got the Edison and Ford estates, so you can go see how those industrial titans, like how they had their lives were. You can see those kind of things. Here in St. Petersburg, there's the aquarium. In Tampa and St. Pete area, you can go to the aquarium that's here. You can go to the Dali Museum, which has like the biggest collection of Dali art outside of Europe. It's something you can really do. Go up to Gainesville and see the Natural History Museum, where you can see the dinosaurs and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of cool museums, a lot of cool things to do here, aside from just the amusement parks and the beach. But of course, enjoy those. Oh, and the critters, yes, you can enjoy the critters in the right way. You can go to gator parks, you go to those national parks, the Everglades and stuff like that to see those. It is really kind of cool to go out into nature and take tours there and hike around and stuff. But yeah, of course, be careful with them. But really, there's so much to do in Florida. That's why so many people come here. It's just not to see Mickey, okay? There's so much more. Now, the next don't I have for you is don't forget the sunscreen and to stay hydrated. Look, I'm here in the morning, although there's no sun, Mark, I don't see it shining on you. Look, I'm here in February and the sun still gets shining down and you do get a tan and you can get burned. So make sure you do bring your sunblock, especially if you're coming from the north of the US or Northern Europe where you're, all pasty white, and I've seen some pasty white people, i.e. myself, getting a little bit too much sun when you're here. So make sure you do use your sunblock. But another thing I see is a lot of people, their hydration method is, oh, I'm in Florida, it's beer and daiquiris, which is totally awesome, by the way. But the problem is that doesn't keep you hydrated. Make sure you're drinking lots of water. And here in Florida, you can drink the tap water. It's fine. It might not taste the greatest, but you can drink it. It's okay. Don't worry. But do try to stay hydrated that way, because it can get dangerous if you're out on the beach all day or you're exploring in the parks or going like the natural parks or the amusement parks. You need to stay hydrated, so do be careful with that. Our next don't for you has to do with driving in Florida. Look, don't talk on your phone while you drive in Florida. It's actually illegal, so the cops can pull you over. So you might want to watch out for that one. If you're renting a car and try to find things out, have your co-pilot or your passengers, have them do the talking or something like that, because if you get caught, you can get a nice fine to go with your, stamp in your passport. Now our next don't for you is don't buy a timeshare, okay? Look, there's lots of timeshares down here, but most of the time you're gonna be traveling different places. You don't wanna get stuck in a timeshare. Don't do the timeshare. Did I say that? Don't do the timeshare. But just know, if you do buy a timeshare, you get 10 days to cancel. Jocelyn told me to tell you that. She said, just know, 10 days to cancel. And if you have issues, actually the state of Florida has websites to help you not get out of your timeshare if you sign up for it, because they do very, very high pressure sales pitches on you. And you may think, I'm just gonna sign up to get them away from me. Look, it's a long time issue you're gonna have to deal with, so don't do the timeshares. Don't fall for it, because they're not really great investments, okay? I'm just telling you that right now. Don't look at it as an investment, because you're not gonna get your money out of it. If you're going to the same place again and again and again every year for 1 week, maybe, but you can rent an apartment or an Airbnb or stay in a nice hotel on the beach instead of some timeshare kind of thing, all right? So don't do that. You get 10 days, okay? At least that's what they said at the state. That's what they told a certain lady friend I know when she accidentally, maybe perhaps, signed something. So don't do the timeshare stuff. Now my next don't for you for Florida is don't forget the seasons. Look, here in Florida, hurricanes do come through here, and hurricane season is usually like July through November. Basically the area gets more intense like August, September, October, kind of around there. But you do want to think about that when you're coming here, so make sure you make other plans. Oh, well, it's going to be rainy and a bad weather time. What are we going to do during the day? And even in good weather times, sometimes the rain just pops up for 20 minutes and disappears. So if you're coming here, make sure you bring a jacket or a long sleeve shirt or something like that for the occasional rain bursts that do happen. But do know that season, that hurricane season, is July to November. But it's more intense like October around there than July and November. But it can happen. Also, the high season at Disney, the busiest week at Disney, is between Christmas and New Year's, because all the school kids have off. Everyone's thinking, what are we going to do to get out of the cold in Illinois? Let's go to Florida! And they come down here and it gets packed. So if you can avoid that week, it'll be busy all the time, but avoid that week especially, okay? Also, July and August, they're really packed too, so just FYI. In Disney. Now our next don't is don't mess with the snowbirds. Look, if you're not sure what a snowbird is someone that's retired that usually lives in the northern U.S., like Illinois or New York or New Jersey or something like that, and they come and they winter here in Florida. And the thing is, there's a lot of them that come, and they're, you know, by the Fort Myers area, Naples, stuff like that. But they're sprinkled throughout Florida, and there are a lot of retirement communities that come. But the thing is, they're here, I would say, from like Thanksgiving through, as they say, March 31st, all the snowbirds leave. So you do have the snowbirds you deal with in like January, February, and March and stuff like that. So sometimes if you're going to be in one of those areas, you're going to want to reserve restaurants and stuff like that. And that kind of goes into the another don't is don't forget to reserve restaurants, or you want to see a princess with your daughter or your son or something like that. You've got to reserve those things way in advance. So restaurants, you know, the week before you come to some restaurants you really want to go to, make your reservations. But if you want to see the princess, one of the princesses at Disney, you might need to book that 3, 4, 5, 6 months in advance, especially during the high season. Especially if there's like one princess she really wants to be. You know, like my little niece loves Ariel. So if she's gonna go there, I'm like, look, we gotta book this in advance. Otherwise she might get Belle and be heartbroken. I don't want Belle, I want Ariel. Okay, so do pre-book those. Don't forget to do that, all right? And the last don't I have for you in here in Florida is don't freak out while you're driving. Look, on I-95, that's the road that goes down the entire coast of the U.S. You have people that are driving from the north. They've been on the road for 20 hours driving down to get to South Florida in their retirement communities or vacation and stuff like that. And I-95 is crazy. You really need to pay attention. We've seen lots and lots of accidents on there. Also, if you're on the other side of Florida, on 75, there's lots of accidents. You really got to pay attention. And sometimes you're thinking, well, I'll just take some of the backcountry roads and stuff like that. Florida is a very populous state, and there's lots of little towns out there, and some of those towns have speed traps as well. So you really need to pay attention when you are driving here. It's not just not talking on the phone. It's also, hey, you know, let's be careful and keep your eyes on the road, which is probably another reason why they say don't talk on your phone, because with all the people that are driving here, tourists that drive different from all over the world and all over the U.S., snowbirds that are down here that might be driving slower or faster than other people, and then the locals are frustrated with everybody because like, I just want to get to work. It can be a bit dangerous, so you do want to be really careful when you do come down here. Anyway, I hope that helped you get a little bit better prepared for Florida. Yes, it is really nice here, and yes, the weather is fantastic. I'm actually here in the bad time because, you know, I had to wear a short sleeve shirt. Well, anyway, here in Florida, the cold winter. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to learn more, 10 things that'll shock you about visiting the South, 5 things you love and hate about the South, or 10 things that'll shock you about the U.S., check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. Oh, we have 5 things you love and hate about Orlando and 5 things you love and hate about going to Disney World and the Magic Kingdom. We have that all on our website and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/woltersworld. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and we really appreciate your likes and subscriptions. And if you have, you know, any suggestions on other don'ts of Florida, please put it in the comment section below, because we like to use that comment section to help out other tourists, because I can't cover it all in a 10-minute or 15 or a half hour, however long this is going video. But I do hope you have a great time. Don't worry, you will, but don't forget your sunblock. And don't mess with the alligators. Unless you're a Georgia Bulldog fan, and then you can totally mess with the Gators. But that's the actual university football team, not the actual chompy guys. Anyway, bye from Florida.